Howdy, howdy, it's soap making day, so I have some things here ready to go. In my white bowl here, I have my melted my melted butters, my hard oils. And then in this cup, I have my castor oil and olive oil that I will be mixing into the melted butters and oils. Get every last drop of that. Castor is a little thick and likes to stick to the container. So I'm going to make sure I get it all in there. I don't like wasting those things. Now I do a 50-50 lye solution. So in this container I have my lye solution. And in the other container, this is my 50-50 lye solution. And in this container is my additional water. And I've also mixed in some kefir with that. So that's my extra liquid. I don't mix the two together. Like, I'm not going to add my water and kefir to my lye solution, because when you do that, it sort of reactivates the lye and it gets really hot, just as if you just mixed up the lye solution. If you pour it in separately into the container, like I'm going to pour my extra water and kefir in first, it will not get as hot. And so it will get warm, but not as hot. And it reduces the scorching and that sort of thing. So first I'm going to go ahead and add some kaolin clay into my melted oils and butters. And I'm going to do that for two reasons. One, I really like the slip that it provides to the soap. It does also add a little hardness, and great label appeal to have kaolin clay in your soap. And on top of that, it just helps hold on to any fragrance that you put in there, especially if you're using essential oils. Now, this soap that I'm making today is not an essential oil soap. It's a fragrance oil. So there usually is no problem with that sticking, but kaolin clay just helps anchor it even more. So I like using it. I use it more often in a men's soap than I do women's soap, and I don't know why, I just do. So here I'm adding my extra liquid with my kefir and get that all mixed together. Now this soap, I'm going to have black layers and then a white layer, and then I will also have a white layer that has activated charcoal beads in it, because the fragrance oil that I'm using in this soap is called black pepper, and I wanted to mimic a black pepper look. And the Vita Burst beads from Wholesale Supplies Plus, that are little black beads that are the activated charcoal ones, are perfect for that look to take place for me. So I'm going to be splitting this off. I'll have a big container, and then I'll have two smaller containers, one that's white with the black beads and one smaller container that's just black. So what I'm going to end up doing is, let me get all of my containers here. I'm going to scoop some of the mixture out of my bowl before I add the lye, and I'm going to go ahead and mix in some activated charcoal into this container. I love what activated charcoal does to a soap and how it works in a soap, but man, it is the messiest stuff in the world to play around with. I mean, it just poofs everywhere. If you're not careful, it'll stain your containers. I have found, however, if you wash your containers out with oil or wipe them down with oil, that it gets most of the activated charcoal off, and then there's not that much of a problem. I get my activated charcoal from, I'm just going to put a little bit. I get my activated charcoal from Wholesale Supplies Plus, and this is a hardwood activated charcoal. So I'll go ahead and get this mixed up and see if it's going to be as dark as I want it, because I really wanted it black. I think I told you that I'm going to name this soap Manly. I was trying to think about it with the mustaches that I have for this soap, and those things gave me the darndest time. it just did not work out like I wanted it to. I'm going to now be on a mission to find a smaller mold that has mustaches. I think that's a good black, so I'll just set it over to the side, and then I'll pour off some more for white that will have the beads in it. And I have to put on these gloves, and I have to tell you, I hate trying to work with them and wear them, so I'll wear them as long as I can. I just have a hard time finding gloves that fit me very well because I have small hands, and so the fingertips are always so long, and it makes it harder for me to work with. So I'll wear them while I'm mixing up the lye solution, for real. Not for real, for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is still all mixed up and there's no kaolin clay settled to the bottom. Now I think it's good, so I'm going to go ahead and pour in my lye solution here. And I'll get that mixed up. I want it to be at a really light trace. So that's looking really good. I've been trying to get this soap made for the last few weeks, and things have just not worked out so that that could take place. So I feel almost like I'm rushing today to get it done just because I have other things coming up. I really wanted this done before the new year, so that this will be, actually should be cured and ready to go by Christmas. So if somebody wanted to order it in the next couple of weeks, it would definitely be ready to use by Christmas. I don't know about you guys, but I think about soap while I'm bathing, and that's where I come up with a design a lot of times and a name. So let me get my stick blender here out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and get some poured into this container. And in that container, in this container, I'm going to go ahead and add, this will be the part that's white with the black activated charcoal Vitaburst beads. Man, I cannot talk today in it. So let's see, I have to decide if I think I have enough, and then pour some in the other container with the activated charcoal. And so I'm just going to have to eyeball it and hope I have enough of each one, and not too much of one or the other. If I have to have too much of one, I prefer it be the white with the beads over the black portion. So I can tell it is a little warm, not a lot warm. Just, I don't have my handheld thermometer or whatever handy to be able to tell you how hot it is, but it's really not hot at all. It might be 90-ish. So I'm going to go ahead and put some titanium dioxide that I have added water to into this cup after I ditch those gloves. I just can't function with them on my hands. And not and try to work with this soap. The fingertips are just way too long, so they just get in the way. So I hope you won't mind. I promise my hands are clean. So here is some kaolin clay that I have mixed in some water. I'm going to go ahead and add some into this cup, and then I'll pour some into the big container as well. I'm not sure if I want to use it all, but I'm pretty sure that I will. I didn't have a lot pre-mixed. And I actually pre-mixed this 3 days ago, thinking I was going to get it into the soap, or get the soap made, and like I said, just have not. My mother-in-law jokes and said that my life is like a soap opera, and it really, really is. Once I get really good at videoing, maybe I'll just do I'll tell you about my soap opera life while we make soap. I sort of like to watch the soapers who give you a little insight about what's going on with them, because it makes you feel like you're more connected to them. Though I still love the videos that have really just soap making and music, and I'm okay with that too. But I don't know that I could ever be quiet long enough to do just a video without any words. I intend to sometimes, and I just can't shut up. So, that's my problem. I'm a talker. get this black all mixed up. I don't know about anybody else, but I absolutely love black soap. It's something just so mystical about it. I like it as much as I like pure white soap. Those two things, I don't know what it is they do for me, but they do something. So here are my Vitaburst beads. And I use the Vitaburst beads from Wholesale Supplies Plus a lot in my soap making. Not so much the activated charcoal ones, but I do use the olive oil beads, vitamin E beads, and jojoba beads. And I put all three of those beads in my oatmeal soap that I make. So that was my fragrance oil, and again it's black pepper, and I'm just going to scent each cup and bowl as I'm going to use it, because I've never used this fragrance oil before and I'm just not sure how it's going to behave. The website says it doesn't discolor and it doesn't accelerate, and so far I've not seen anything going on with this little batch here with the fragrance oil in it, but I just didn't want to take any chances. I'm going to sprinkle some more of the beads on top. This soap is an experimental loaf that has gone wrong from the very minute I tried to start making it. And I'll tell you a little more about the mishaps as we go. But normally I make at least 2 or 3 of the tall and skinny moldfuls of soap as I go. And I got my tall and skinny molds from Brambleberry. I have 4, maybe 6 of those. I just really like this type mold for this type of soap. Though in this instance it didn't work quite as well for me. So this is still kind of liquidy, but I'm going to go ahead. I have to get outside soon and feed up the farm animals, so I'm going to have to just try to layer it on really easily so that it doesn't break through. I don't want that to happen, but if it does, I guess I won't cry, since everything else has gone a little haywire with this batch of soap as far as the planning part of it goes. And it was so good in my head when I was in the bathtub. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Oh, and I'll put this embed in there, and it's going to be perfect. And then I got up, and it took a couple of days for me to get around to it. And then when I got around to it, it's like, well, dang. The whole embed process of it won't work at all. And I'll show you later why it won't. So I thought maybe if I just piddled around for a few minutes that this would thicken up, and it's just really liquid. I'm just going to have to be extra careful. The only thing that I don't like about these tall and skinny molds is it's really hard to get things in the mold in a clean fashion. So I made a mess with the black, so I went ahead and cut it off, and I really just went ahead and layered up the more of the black, more of the white, more of the black, more of the white, and I just spared you the huge mess that I made, and I do mean huge mess.
Let's pray that these.
So now this is my mustache, and if you can see, it's perching right on top of the mold, so therefore it wouldn't go down inside of the mold for me to put that down inside the soap, which is what I intended to do. I intended to make a whole, was going to glue those all together with some water and put it down in there, and it just wouldn't fit. And I also wanted my top to be completely white, and that didn't happen either, because I had to scoop the soap up enough to get up inside the little mustache. But here it is the next day. I'm going to cut it up, and I'll show you how it turned out. I'm not real happy with it, but it's not the ugliest soap I've ever made. To me, the mustache on top just kind of looks like somebody's head of hair. So that's the disappointing part. So I have it all cut up, and it smells good, and the white sure did turn out really pretty, but it just wasn't what I had in mind. So I'm going to work on more videos. If you like this one, please give me a thumbs up and share, and thanks for watching.